today I have Paul Knight and Michael G. I have a hard time pronouncing your last name. Don't ask me why. We'll call you Michael G. And we are going to talk about, one second, we're going to do a part 2 on what we did last week, talking about frequencies and vibration. 1 second. Just give me 1 minute, guys, because I'm still not coming over on this thing. Okay, here we go. Yeah. We just want to clear. 1 second. We just want to clear up a little bit of a misunderstanding, because some people had left comments saying that, there is such thing as vibration and frequency. And Paul and I, we weren't saying that. Okay. What we were saying that the body is solid. We are not held together to any kind of vibration or frequency, but we can be affected by it. But that's not what we are. Why am I doing this? What's going on with my computer? All right. Guys, why don't you, I'm having problems with my computer. Why don't you guys introduce yourself, and then we'll just pick up where I just left off, because I'm having a little trouble.
Okay, go on then. Well, I'll let Mike go because he's new. A lot of people might know, but this is Mike, our good friend, and he's going to introduce himself.
Here I am. I'm Mike. I've done a bunch of shows with these guys. I've known them for a long time. I think we're pretty much on the same page with a lot of things, just, a little bit different viewpoints.
Yeah, and it's okay.
That's good. We were just discussing pre going live this very thing, and it's good to be different. It's good to have an objective part of you, because it keeps you honest. It keeps you wanting to learn. And we don't agree on everything. Most things we do, because we we're here together. But obviously some things we just don't agree on. But it's not very far away. It's just a different description or perspective on things. And for anyone who's not saw me, obviously I'm Paul, aka the Black Sheep Researcher. I have my own channel. Gloria's invited me back again, and Mike this week, to progress, where we are talking about basically everything, heaven and hell and everything in between. And basically a really, really deep video, because it is a good topic to talk about. You've seen a lot of people on YouTube talking about this and this, but they don't talk about certain things or want to progress the chat. And this is what we're all about. We might be wrong some weeks, a lot of weeks we probably will, but we keep coming back and we'll keep trying to progress and learn. And that's the only way you'll do it, is if you get good minds and Gloria back each week.
You know what I think it is too? I mean, like, what we're talking about is completely different than what else is out there. And it's hard to put into words. It's hard to explain it. So you guys just got to be patient. And it's not like we're going around in circles, because we're trying to figure it out ourselves, so. But Paul, why don't you get back into, I don't know what's wrong with this. Why don't you get back into where we left off? Okay, as far as like, the solidity of the body and all that stuff.
Well, we was talking about, and Mike raised a good point, and Mike will tell you in a minute the question he asked, and he made a really, really good point, is we were talking about last week how if, like cymatics, they pour thing, they put a frequency into the medium and it produces shapes, generally snowflakes, star patterns, things like that. And we were just asking the question, couldn't you make a shape? And I don't mean standing up 3D image of a human. I mean a shape similar to a person, if we all have a frequency. And Mike basically made, in channel, I'll let him talk now, it may be more than one frequency. You know what I mean? So these are things that get you thinking, and that's what's really good to do. So I'll let Mike see if he can draw on that.
I mean, based off of what you guys were saying, like, it would only make sense. So you have one frequency that makes certain shapes in the sand and in different other aspects, but to get like a more solid image or a solid figure, I mean, you might need more than one, just to create that structure, to hold that structure, to keep it rigid and flexible all at the same time. That way it can stand, it can move, it could do different things. I don't think, you're talking about like complex shapes and complex patterns. You would have to have more than one, because one, I don't think would just, it wouldn't create that solidity that you need.
So I've just got in my head then when you were talking about that, the idea of a 3D printer.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming down, making shape out of the human.
Like that.
And Yeah, that's really intriguing. And then if you think about it, what we talk about, we're not talking frequencies don't create us. We're just saying how science have said the universe is created. We don't even know the universe. Do you know what I mean? And us are vibrating constantly all the time. I mean, you could call that electromagnetism, but we were just intriguing and trying to move it forward by saying these things. That idea what Mike just talks about is a really good, like, you know, a thought-provoking question on it. Is it a frequency for this? Is it a frequency for to move? Is it a frequency? This is what we was trying to say last week. We're not saying there's no such thing as frequency because we need it. That may be the pulse, the way the energy, the thought works. And it's just,
but you know what, Paul? I'm sorry. I don't care how many frequencies a person has. It's still measurable, isn't it? You could still measure it. You could still do.
Well, we can only use a machine that is built by us to measure something that we are shown on a screen. For instance, if you had a machine in front of you and you said it was measuring pink elephants, you would say it was pink elephant. Do you know what I mean? It's a case of we can only use and be told what they tell us. So if you said, how do you measure it? Well, they made a machine to show that, but that could be anything that's been measured.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's just say they could really measure it. Okay, so if you look at, say, a table's going to have one frequency. It's not going to have a million, right? But if you look at the human body, every vein, every organ, everything has to have its own frequency, right? Yeah. To me, that makes no sense. I'm sorry, it makes no sense.
Well, we was talking about that, and we was talking about the thought, and that's some of the stuff we was on about. Why did they not like put electrodes on a table and there's nothing will come out of it? You know what I mean? There'd be no signal, yet it's supposed to be vibrating, but really, really slowly. It should still produce a frequency if something is attached to it, but they don't.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what we're on about. If I put electrodes on something like a wall or a wall, you would have vibration from people next door or you walking about. But something like your table or something like that, it should produce a slight frequency because it's still vibrating. They just say because it's dead, but the energy is dying. It's still going slowly, but moving. So it should produce something to be measured. But it doesn't, and you know what I mean? That is the intriguing question. That is like helping us in our argument.
Yeah, and then I mean, you could look at it too. I mean, this is out there, but I'm just going to throw it. I'm just going to throw it out there anyway. Okay, we know that this is a place. Well, I know that this is a place. I don't know what you guys think. Okay, you can tell me, but it is. It's a place. But let's just say, okay, if we exclude the creator creating the human body, and we could say, well, some kind of entity created us, right? With their creation, they created the body where our soul's consciousness comes into to have fun, or whatever the case may be. God allows it, and we come and we have fun. So they created the body, not God. He created the place, and everything is his thought. So his thought then creates their own thought, and by creating their own thought, create their own reality. And we created all this, right? And some other entity created our bodies. So our bodies perhaps are from this place. They are solid. They are as complex as they are. And they're real. Okay. So we can go that way too.
There's a lot of ways that you could go. Have you got any thoughts on that, Mike? Because you're new to the chat.
I don't know. For me, it's definitely a place, but I've always thought of like almost more like a simulation where, you know, we come and go. Like our consciousness comes in here and we hang out here for whatever our duration is, but it definitely doesn't stay here.
Right.
I mean, we can't transfer that yet in this place reality. But I think a lot of it's just based on perception, what we perceive it to be, what we create in our minds that step down from how we were created.
But our consciousness is not part of the body. The body.
No, it's definitely not
consciousness.
Right. We're just flesh bags walking around with somebody inside of our heads. Like our vessel is here, but we're not necessarily from here. I mean, it could be we're being broadcast through like a Wi-Fi type of deal.
That's what you mentioned a little bit, wasn't it, Glory? A little Wi-Fi things on the molecules type of thing.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Every hair on the human body, they're everywhere. All of us. We're just this great big antenna receiving information and decoding binary to have an experience.
I mean, like we were talking about the body being a cell. I mean, a cell obviously can produce energy as well. Is it a case of when we're talking like a cell of prison, we can't have the soul doing what it's doing, experience without this body as a cell? You know what I mean? The cell could hold this. You know, we know it's a vessel, and basically you can't have one without the other. What each other, they act like a partnership in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Providing power and experiences to the consciousness. You know, like a two-way thing. I know I don't want to talk about too much with two-way things like Janus and different things. I mean, when I did my research and it referred to him as God of the Gap and the veil thing, all these things are so interesting to put into this argument and this question. What are we here to do? What are we here to experience? And we, you know what I mean? It just excites me. You know what I mean? To have people that you can talk to who won't judge you on whatever you think, accept it. You know what I mean? And then you can counteract with a different type of comment, like Mike before saying this, and that's intrigued me more and different things. And this is what we're here for. I just don't get why people can't come together like this and just have a good, you know, a good talk about different deep talk, you know, have a few laughs in between.
Programming and ego. Programming and ego get in the way, and once you get rid of your ego and realize that no, not one of us is any better than the next, we're all going through the exact same things, just a different set of circumstances, you can actually start to connect with people mentally on a different level to get to that point. And there needs to be a lot more of it. I mean, so what if you're wrong? So what if you don't have it all together? I mean, the only way to start figuring some of it out is to just bounce things around. Say, hey, look, maybe that fish should have legs. Maybe somebody cut the legs off the fish. It should fly. Who knows? But you're not going to get there if you don't talk about it, or if you're too afraid to talk about it. You got to get it out there. Yeah, maybe you're wrong. So what? Oh, well, I was wrong. Fish don't have legs. They shouldn't fly. No big deal.
You know what? I think at the end of the day, no matter how much research we do and topics we touch on, we're all looking for the same thing. People are all looking for the same thing. Like they're looking to create, they're looking to connect to the creator. That's really what it is. Okay. For me, I'm not looking to connect to the creator because I already am. And those that are awake already are. And they know that. Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is, how do I change this reality that I'm experiencing? Like, how do I stop all the negative vibrational frequencies that they're fucking with? Okay. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I feel that my experience should be different, because I know how I want my life to be. I know what I want to feel, and I know what I want more of, and I don't want any more of. And I should be able to do that at this time. But there are interferences. Do you guys agree that there are interferences?
I'll go, and then Mike, and then there's a question that wants answering in the chat. Why I keep getting back to this? I believe in a creator. I think most of us do. I don't know Mike's personal belief. I believe in a creator. You can call him God. You can call him whatever. These are just titles that we as a person, an entity, give things, because we seem to have to put things into a category to understand them. Maybe we never will, but whatever happens down here has an effect up there. It's as above, so below, or whether it is. So to the interfere with us, they are interfering with the creator. And that is why I believe they do what they do. They may have another agenda, which they probably will, and we've done videos on this, but I think the main thing is they want to get back at the creator through us, because if you hurt us, you hurt him. You know what I mean? So what better way is there to hurt, or hurt him up there, or she, or the entity? I don't even know what you would call God or the creator, but hurt us, you hurt the creator, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So that is just my take. They're doing it for a reason. What is the reason but to interfere with the creator? Have they got an agenda? Well, it's obviously they have an agenda, because they're doing all these things. But do we know the full thing? Did it start off being good? Was the agenda good? Is it a case of, like I talk about in some of my things about knowledge, and they wanting the veil lifting because they believe they can have full power, full contact, full access, and because the creator doesn't believe that we can cope, not all of us, because like training wheels type of thing. He's put the veil in place. Now, is it a case of it's a battle over being full access to the knowledge, to the creator, to what I don't know, but they are interfering through us and Mother Nature, the earth, because it's all alive. We're all connected. If you hurt one thing, that thing hurts another. You know what I mean? It's a cascading effect because everything is like an ecosystem type of thing. And so that is why they do it, in my opinion.
What do you think, Mike?
I think we're all pretty much on the same page. I think to a degree, it's like selected free will. Like everything has been set in motion from the beginning, and certain things click together to keep going down that way. No, I did, but I've thought about I've often thought about that. Like you're presented, right? It's like one of those books where you open it and it says, if you want to see, the wizard go to the castle, go to page 5. And then you go to page 5. I mean, in personal experiences, like when I've made wrong choices, when I've hit that fork in the road, it's like for a while, nothing seems right. Nothing feels right. It's almost as if those next pages are being written. And then once they're written and that path is connected to, that next branch on the tree, that's when everything starts to feel normal. You start to relax again. You're comfortable. You move through that uncomfortable tunnel zone, I like to call it, and get past that. I think, I think you're right. What they do to us here has an effect on them, and then they're not going to allow that to happen. But at the same time, they have to poke you a little bit to get you to stay on that path that they want you to go down. So, I mean, when you're sitting here thinking about it and you're conflicted about not being able to change certain things or do certain things, there's to a degree, there's not much you could do about it until you get to that point where you either go to page 5 or you go to page 40.
I love it. That's so awesome. Actually, I spoke about that on one of my videos, and I feel the same exact way. I mean, I got a little bit deeper into that because then you're getting into, things predetermined. Do we have free will? And you said it perfect, because that's exactly how I feel. I think in life, everything is predetermined, and then we get to a point where we're able to have a free will decision. And based on, depending on what we decide to do, when a chapter is just about done, and God's like, okay, you have a choice. Do you want to stay in the same situation? Do you want to do something different? That's your free will decision. Yeah. You make that decision, it turns the chapter, it turns the page, and it's just a continuation of the decision you made. But all those characters and everything is already there,
So you got 3 people here talking about the same thing differently, but the same thing. You just said it that way. I say it with the fork in the past. Mike just said it a different way. All the same topic, but all perceived, and our perspective changes it, but it's still the same thing at heart.
Yeah, the basic premise.
Ideas put into the collective pot, as they say. Can I just answer a question before it goes so far up the chat thing? I think it was from Michael Healy. Let me just find it now. He says, why do Masons worship Baal? Now, the Black Sheep Researcher, if you have come across it. Well, Baal comes by many names. It's Baphomet, it's Janus, Satan, Lucifer. All these names are just names, it's titles. Ask yourself, why do all these gods have the same name? Why are they reincarnate? Because they're basing it off something in the day 0 or whenever it was made. That idea. They're all precarnate, so they worship an alternate, because obviously there's the creator. You would have to, in this reality, I believe in duality in different aspects and different things. There always seems to be 2 things. It's not perfect. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but we worship the creator, the good, as they say, and they think, well, we don't want to worship him. We'd have to create something else. And that is when you then think of the thought of, do you know what I mean? It's mind blowing, but Baal is just Baphomet. It's just Janus. He goes by many names, and you can look at the Hebrew and different things, what it means. A husband was called Baal as well, and different things, but they had temple They had temples in Egypt all around, that region, but it was to Bel, not Baal. So that is why I talked about it in Saved by the Bell, was this talking in reference to Baal, because his name was Bel, B-E-L. So the names change. They create language to confuse us, the indoctrinators at the kids and children level. That's why they do it. We never used to have all this type of language and different things, and it got created to confuse our minds and hide truth in plain sight, because you can hide things in words, make them longer, make them sound different, pronounce them differently. So all these things have an effect on what history is, and that is, we're just here to basically try and get through it all and see if anything resonates with us.
Mm-hmm. And then we can get into, with that, we can get into the whole life and death thing. Okay, because these people obviously were here. They were trying to give us a message, about what's going on and all that shit. But a lot of things have been suppressed. But getting into Baal and B and all that, let's get into, life and death, reincarnation. I think that'd be pretty cool. Mike, you want to go?
Yeah, I want to just jump back real quick, because yesterday there was something that kind of solidified my thought process along the lines of what we were talking about. So I had a great day yesterday. Started off great, cutting a hole through concrete, came out perfect. Get in the truck, going to drop tools off, and drive down the exact same road I drive down maybe 20 times a week. It's a little bit different. Today, I end up clipping somebody with the side mirror on my truck. I smacked their mirror and had to wait for the cops to show up and get pulled over and sit there and do the whole insurance thing. And the only thing in the back of my head was, what was I being held up from seeing or doing or encountering at that time? And I think that's more or less like the intervention that we get to stay away from looking at something, or to, not interact with somebody, like paths that we're supposed to cross no longer cross, and that opens a different branch, and then a whole nother web or a whole nother way of what was supposed to happen takes place.
That's like the Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about last week.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it too, like just stupid things, like you leave your keys, or all of a sudden you drop your phone, and then somebody walks by, but you don't ever see who they were. So it's
No,
it's crazy.
I agree with that, because I used to get really upset, like being stuck in traffic or having somebody drive -10 in front of me. But now I look at it and go, you know what? There's a reason for it. Maybe I'm not supposed to be somewhere at a certain time, and they're the ones preventing me from doing it. I look at that too. And when you look at life like that, it changes a lot of things. Like your stress levels go down. You just kind of go with it, and you have faith in it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, what do you think?
That's hard for me to have faith in it, though, because I always think in the back of my head, well, what did I just miss? What did I almost want, I want to know what I missed. I don't.
Yeah, but maybe you shouldn't know what you missed, because maybe what you're missing is really bad, and it's better that
maybe.
Well, I'll answer that now. I just want to do a quick shout out to people, and because they're turning up, and we need these guys, because we get questions and things. So it's PG2424. Hello, is it Shark Tikong Gno? And then we got Gloria, Miss Ali, Lisa Avery, the Bob Green, Stephen Wheatley, Queen of Swords 44, as we know, PG again. You have Mr. Mensa, Susan Picano, or Picano, if that's my pronunciation. And then who else we have? You got Queen of Swords, Prenter, we know Harley Quinn, we know Marika, we know you have, and then go right to the bottom. You got JM, you got Lisa Avery, Hannah H. Hello, Hannah. And then you've got it's right down to the bottom. You got
say hello to Derek. Derek.
What's up, Derek?
Hi, Derek. Derek drives me crazy.
And Jill. Right. So the question you want, I do believe, yes. If you think of it as not as a business, it's just how to put words out that's in my head. It's crazy. If we're in an ecosystem and everything relies on something, you would need an intervention team, like Mike was just talking about, especially if there's the illusion of free will. And you can't go back to looking at the Adjustment Bureau, the Fringe, and other programs have entities. You can call them the Watchers, whatever you want to call them. There seems to be people that's been acting as an observer on this, keeping an eye out, keeping it running smoothly, giving you a nudge there, nudger, so you stick to the illusion of free will. And there's no other way around it, because you see people. How many times do you think, oh, I've not seen this person, and next minute you walk out the door or whatever, and you bump into that person? Like, what are the odds of that? There's things done for a reason. You had that upload or download from what we call the catchy records, or whatever you want to call it, and that thing was set in motion. You were just about to go out. You had that upload and thought, oh, well, I've not met that person, and you've gone out and met them because you were due to meet them. Maybe you had it slightly earlier than you should have done, but that is down to the individual. But it's intriguing me because we see so many weird things, and people.
It has to be. But let's just think about this for a second, okay? For those who had OBEs, okay, NDEs, they will tell you when you are out of this body, you don't know that this planet exists. You don't know there's such thing as a planet. You don't know anything. The only thing that you know is that you are consciously aware that you're consciously aware of your. That's the best way I could explain it, because it's just like this dark void, but you're everything and you're like no thing at the same time. So you don't know about this planet. You don't know about anything. And then
you just said a good question, if you can answer on mic. Miss Ali said, we plan and the creator plans, so whatever happens is designed for everyone else to follow. For instance,
but it is.
What did the bad guys do? Who do they follow? Is there a set plan? Is it a token of the past for the bad guys?
But wait a minute. Okay, so let me get back to what I was saying. So when we come here, we know nothing. It's just, the best way I could explain is, you ever wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or whatever, and for a quick second, you don't know where the fuck you are. Like, nothing looks familiar to you because your brain didn't wake up before your soul entered your body again. Okay. You're like, where the hell am I? You know, when that happens, that's how it feels. We don't know anything. So this reality has to have a blueprint. Everything has to be predetermined, because if we came here not knowing anything, it would be complete chaos. There would be no structure. We wouldn't know what to do.
So that's the question I want to ask you now. I'm not putting you on the spot. Is the bad guys have an agenda? And obviously this has been happening to us. All this misery and all this is done for a reason. Why would you as a creator put everyone? Are you just saying it's all due to an experience and a learning experience?
No, it's a learning experience. There is such thing as duality to a point. You know, some people say, well, things are balanced and it's supposed to be the way it is. No, it's not. This is not balanced. This is fucking total chaos. Okay. We're like this. No, the scales have been tipped. You have people, and you know what? Maybe guys could think I'm crazy for saying that. I don't know, but maybe they're just other entities that come here and occupy the space and cause chaos, because it's not supposed to be this way. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. That just, for me, I mean, when you said that, like, it brings one of the Matrix movies into play. Like, I mean, I don't think we would be able to accept absolute harmony. Like, being here, I don't think you would be able to accept that. Like, I think there has to be a level of chaos in order for us to be in place. And I think, you know, and who's to say a lot of that chaos isn't orchestrated by some of the watchers, or one part of that programming that needs to run in order to keep everybody kind of in line, because it keeps you in line. You got boogeyman, watch out for drugs, watch out for this, watch out for that. You know, I mean, I think a lot of that might just be a system of control.
Mike, with that case of it being perception, obviously these guys, the evil, we know it's evil, the bad, their perception is they're doing right.
It could be. I mean, in whatever twisted way they're thinking about it. Like, I mean, Thanos thought he was right. It's just, you know, I mean, it's a horrible reference, but at the same time, he thought to kill half of the universe would let the other half flourish. I mean, so, you know, with perception, what you perceive to be real and what you perceive to be good ultimately turns out to your reality.
Right. Exactly.
It's weird how that analogy, how we just talked about how when something bad happens, what do we say? Or we're in a bad place in our life, we say, oh, you've gone off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just telling you basically we have gone off from the path that we should be on. It just seems weird that just came to me when I saw someone commenting in the chat line.
You know what, Paul? You could. What are the girls trying to pick you up again? Ladies, stop.
No, these ladies have brains and they're asking questions, and I'm just my eyes taking it.
But then you could look at it, it's the same thing. Like, why do they tell us to stay away from crystals and meditate is a waste of time? And when you pray, put your hands together to form the pyramid, so it sucks all your energy. God will never hear it. Whatever. It's all they want us to stay away from certain things that would help us, because we are energy. Crystals are energy, right? So they tell us don't do that because it's evil, or people that are have abilities, psychic abilities.
I want to ask a question to you guys, because I'm just thinking of it now.
Paul, just fucking cut me off in the middle of my guy.
Well, you told me to answer. Speak up before I forget.
So my question. Go ahead.
Kiss my ass. Right. So I want to ask you guys: do you think these watchers, or what we're talking about, the people from the Adjustment Bureau, are the force behind the evil or something? They are them guys because they have the power to push us in certain directions. Or do you just think it's just so predetermined left and right? Like we talked about, and you download this and you download that. This power has a place in our existence to push us on the path, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. Do you think it's these guys who we call there, or do you believe it's something else?
All right, but we could exit chat too. What if we are the watchers? What if we are the watchers and they're trying to stop us? What if we are the ones that observe and because we have so much love in our hearts, we'll perceive things to be all beautiful and change reality as we know it?
Well, we already agreed on that. Some people, we could be classed as the watchers because we see in the workings of how everything's gone on. But there's watchers who observe, and then there must be an entity that intervene. Are they the people who do that? I'm just running a question. I just want to hear what your guys' thoughts on it, because obviously their perception is everything. What they're doing is for the better, the better, whatever you want to call it, for the better cause, better flow of things. So what actually they could do bad things, but because it's for the better thing, it's okay, and it's a learning experience. I just want to know is who we call there, like all the secret societies, all the cabal, are they knowing information what we don't know who these people are, and they are worshipping that entity, that corporation as such, like it is in the Adjustment Bureau?
Well, I mean that's like that's a hard question, because when it comes to like Freemasonry, Illuminati, and stuff like that, I've known people, I've had conversations with them, and they were really up there in degree. And from what I understood, and there wasn't much that they could reveal to me, they kind of give it to me in riddles, and I would have to put it together. But they know what this is all about. They pretty much know what this is all about, and they just keep the story going for us to experience it and figure it out. Mike, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I think they would have to have some kind of information. I mean, I think there's a lot of information that's kept from us that they control. That there's those groups. I mean, there's a lot of like Masonic rituals and a lot of other groups that are all tied together. I mean, and they didn't just exist for this amount of time just because they exist. Like they have something. They have that knowledge. I mean, there's got to be serious amounts of knowledge in the Vatican Library. A couple miles worth of books, texts, things like that. I mean, you could go off on a tangent with that too, but they have to know more than what we do. They control the information. They're the source. They have it all right now. We're just the useless eaters, but
Yeah.
we're starting to break away from what they say and what they're doing. I mean, and even with that, I think there's a group of us that are together in that thought process. And I think that for me, and I've talked about it with some other people, but we all connect in a certain way, and it's different than when you connect and meet somebody you go hang out for drinks with, or you connect and meet somebody that you go play games or basketball or whatever with. And I think we all come from a generalized local area wherever we are sourced from, and we've come here and we've found each other. So I think that's one of the ways we fight back against a lot of it, is to stay together and to find the other people, our people,
Yeah.
and to keep talking, because eventually, I mean, like they have to give us some information.
Yeah, but you know what Paul was saying last time on the other show, Paul, when you had said that we are the veil, right? And now that we're becoming more intuitive and we're starting to see truth and we're starting to get better downloads, or we could say that we're getting more binary code information, whatever, from the Akashic records, whatever you want to call it. But we are seeing things. You do a lot of research on your channel and you debunk a lot of stuff, but you're limited to what you have because you don't know who's putting it out there. So,
exactly.
Yeah, but you do a really good job. But not only that, you use your intuitiveness too. You use your, hey, you know what? This is a knowing. I feel it in my gut versus, no, I'm not too sure about this. So that's an intuitive sense, which we're all becoming more and more intuitive. Every one of us that's awake. The veil, you're right. And it has broken down.
I mean, I've just, like I said, you just saying that, you just give me a thought. You just triggered something in me. Picture this. When we get warm, we perspire. We sweat outwards, right? We agree, or I don't know if Mike does, but me and Gloria agree that everything, all what's pre-recorded is around us in the ether, in the Akashic records, in the liquid, the gas, the water, whatever you want to, it's all around us. What happens if we are the veil is thinning because we are growing inside, our consciousness is growing. It's thinning the veil because it must start off like training wheels. And more we learn, the veil gets thinner because we're able to handle more information soaking up. So it's reverse. It's not us perspiring. It's the information is soaking into our skin, into our souls, because we're able to cope with an overload of information because we are learning each day. We are open-minded. We can accept this new knowledge because we keep going day in, day out, looking for the truth. So if it is an alternate type of perspiring where the information is just soaking up into our skin, we're absorbing it quicker because we're more open. The veil is thinning, letting more information in. So that is why I believe we are the veil. We are God's force, Elvi, magical, whatever you want to call it. These are just terms people had to use and put on to something to describe something. Like we said last week, there's sometimes there's just no words that you can use to get that message across because we didn't need words or speaking. It was using our minds, our consciousness knows, you know what I mean? It's like telepathy or whatever. We are one. We are and now we're putting into these vessels, the veil is getting thinner and thinner because we are evolving as a consciousness. We are open to this, and you know what I mean. And that's what's beautiful. That's just my thoughts on it.
You know what? It's weird. Like you ever look at and say, like you look at your own life and you go, like I know I do, and I'm like, why do I do what I do? Like, why is this my entire world? My son told me recently, he's like, you're not capable. He says, well, not that I'm not capable. He's like, you can't love one person. He said, because you love the world too much. He says, you slice yourself so thin. He goes, what about you? Like what and it's true. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, wow, I really do. And you do, Mike. I'm not saying that we love everybody because some people we don't. I get it. But for the most part, we want what's best for our kids. We want what's best for us. We want a peaceful place to be. And I asked myself that. I'm like, I devoted my whole life since I was, a kid. I've always been out and helping people and everything like that. And I feel like since the beginning of time, which there really was no beginning, it's always had a tipping point. Like, you had really, really good and good overpowered evil, and then it kind of tipped, and then evil took over, and then good was down here. And I think we're at that point right now where we're starting to tip the scale again with good. And the more that we come forward and the more that we stick together and the more that we love each other, we're starting to tip that scale to turn everything around. For the next incarnation, things will be different. Maybe everybody will have a different experience where now good versus, there's really no more evil, and we get to enjoy that. And then until that, tips again a little at a time, evil starts coming up and then it tips the scale once again. I think we go back and forth. Is what I'm saying. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think I wanted to touch on what Paul was saying though, because you made me think about it like the inward absorption, right? So it's kind of, I've always thought of it like we're kind of in the womb right now. And the more we wake up to this information and the more information we collect and bring, we grow and grow and grow. And that veil is getting thin because we're growing outwards. And then, then to touch on what Steven asked in the chat, I mean, I think we ascend to a different level, not necessarily of the unwoke. Like, I think a lot of what we see and the interactions we have with other people, I mean, I think for me, a lot of that is, they're more or less like kind of like bots to a degree. Like they're running around doing their thing, just like if we were watching like the Sims video game or something like that. Like, because there's a lot of behavior that just doesn't make sense. So I think for us, we have a transformation. Maybe we ascend to a different level here or in another place that is very similar. Because I think once we leave, once we go to a different level, I think there has to be some level of similarity so we don't reject that. And it could be slight changes throughout each step to get to somewhere at the end that's totally different than what we started at, but we accept it. That way we don't reject what's happening to us.
Mandela effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baby steps.
It could be.
Baby steps. It's there. It's here already. And you're right. It can't be something that happens all at once because our brains they'll short circuit. We just won't understand it. And that's where, the Mandela effect comes in. Definitely. It's being shown to us.
The soul or the consciousness can take it, but the mind that's processing it can't. I've got a question there because someone asked in the chat, asked me, but I'd like to answer you guys as well. It said, so this is from JM. So Paul, are we the Neos or the agents, Smiths of this realm? And that is a deep question. And I was like, no, what? Because we sure do aspects of both. Yep. I think we are both, and that is where the duality and the Janus of things happen. We show traits of being Agent Smith when we are indoctrinated. Mm-hmm. And then that thing inside was that intuitive where we want to learn, we want to get out, we want to be the one, which is Neo. We then go to the Neo path, and then, things happen. And I think it's a bit of both. I mean, we show tendencies of both. There's people out there who are constant Agent Smiths, and there's people who never go to Neo side and vice versa. But the people on the path of the truth to expose it, like me, I would say I have been both in my time. Sometimes when you don't know a topic, you are the Agent Smith because you are guarding it because you don't want to delve into that and you don't want other people to know. And then when you learn more and become more freer and experience what we're here to do, you then maybe turn to the Neo side. It's weird. I would say both at times. Some people could be constantly either one, the type of spirit, type of thing. I'm just saying what I believe because I've showed both tendencies, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean, you're learning as we go.
The whole trick is, and that's what I had mentioned to you the other day, Paul, because I had posted a song and you were like, oh, nice song, whatever. And I said, for me, it's like, yeah, we do play both roles because there is duality. So we have to. Okay, that's how we're going to have an experience. But for me, I'm at the point where I don't want to get caught up in the matrix anymore. And I haven't been. I haven't been. I'm able to step back and just observe it and be like, okay, so this is not saying that I don't try to do things or I don't participate in it. I do, but as an observer, I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to anything. I just do. You know what I'm saying? So the challenge is to try to stay in that way of thinking all the time. And that's what I ask God for. And I pray and meditate all the time. And I'm like, keep me knowing what I know. Don't ever let me forget who I am. If I get caught up in everyday bullshit, if I get angry, keep me grounded. Remind me who I am. Because I think that's the only way that you're going to see everything for what it is, or else it's just this back and forth kind of thing. You're arguing with this one, you're fighting with this one. And that's why in one of my videos, I said, just apologize to people. No more fighting. It's stupid. You get caught up in this shit. Stay grounded. You are a soul. You are God's creation, and you're beautiful. Maybe your personality is fucked up in this reality, whatever the case may be. But underneath all those layers, you still are from the Creator. And if you can bring that out and you can stay in that moment all the time. And I'm not saying that you can't get mad because everybody's going to get mad. I'm not saying that. I'm not crazy, okay? But get mad, let it out, and then regroup, you know, and always, yeah. What do you guys think?
Well, Mike, I'll let you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's days where I wish I was still back in the Matrix. Like I really do, because there's a giant influx of everything, and you start to get overly sensitive to things that happen, and it's overload. And I think that's where a lot of anger comes from with people, is that, you know, especially through some of these communities. I mean, and then I think like a lot of just the regular bots that are in the Matrix ended up getting in there, and they're screwing things up because somebody has positioned them into that place. But they're it's hard sometimes to do what we do, and to think how we think, and not get caught up in this, because I mean, you know, especially with like the regular people, you say one thing and the next thing you know, you're a lunatic or you're this. So
Then don't
you
bother
know
with
it.
people like that. Don't bother with people like that.
No, you don't. And you learn to keep that to the people that you know,
Right.
you know,
No,
are the
you can't
same.
do that, because then you're still being two people. You're still existing in two different realities. You have to make a choice. Okay, you have to say, this is what I believe in. And what I believe in is my truth and is who I am. And that's who I'm going to be. And I'm going to stay that way. And those that don't understand can go away, and it's okay. It's okay. Because you can't, because if you're with someone and you're a particular way with that group of people, and you're yourself with a different, you can't play both roles.
Can I just ask a question? Because some people are talking about it slightly. Do you believe, as whatever we are, what you can call us, we are now more sensitive because we are, our consciousness is growing? Because years ago, I believe a lot of people were more, not dumb, they were numb to people around them. Now, I'm not referring to like the snowflake generation now, where everything seemed oversensitive. But I mean, into feelings and different things. We seem to be, like Mike was saying, we are becoming more and more sensitive to little changes that you would never normally have seen. You know that, like, even the tuning fork that we talk about is now so sensitive. You're picking on stuff that you would never ordinarily pick up X amount of years ago. It just seems now this generation of who we are seems to be able to pick on things, and we're more sensitive. We are more emotional. Bloody hell, I get so emotional. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I mean, I've always been emotional, but you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
That, you know what I mean?
You get it out of nowhere sometimes, though. It's like you get punched in the stomach, and it's like, oh my God, what is happening? But it for me, it's like, what the question, what is happening, doesn't necessarily have to do with me. It's more or less like something in the fabric is changing, and I can feel it more than I could 5 years ago, when I wasn't as receptive to that energy as I am now. And I think that that's one of those stepping stones to going to where we are. I mean, and being empathetic to what is around us. It's hard. It is hard dealing with these changes and these shifts, and knowing that they're happening around us. Or like, you know, you get that feeling, but what is that feeling caused by? What changed? Like, and that, for me, I want to know what changed. So I go and start looking, you know, at certain things, and just to see. I mean, somebody's got to know. Somebody's got to have that feeling. Like,
Yeah. That's what I talk about, Mike, because every time that happens, and it's happened so many times this month, and I'm going to make a separate video because I have the dates written down and everything. It's happened so many times, and things do change. They do. And sometimes it's just things around you, or sometimes it's your own appearance, your own self, you know. But whenever that feeling does happen, something does change. I do the same thing. I go and look for it, you know. But I'm lucky enough because I have a lot of people that reach out and tell me what changed for them, you know. So, but yeah.
It's definitely, isn't it? Not to go off topic, I don't know why I'm like all over the place. I'm getting thoughts and ideas for things that we might talk on later on, and I just get it out now. I may as well. It's a case of, do you believe the gap between what is perceived good and evil, like the veil, is thinning and we're getting closer? Because I always put into when I do my notes, and I was putting bubbles, I was putting good and evil like that. you think about it now, we're getting more sensitive. The influence one over the other is getting stronger. Is it a case of they're now starting to merge with each other, good and evil?
To
If you
be
understand what meaning.
to be somewhat like massive gray area.
Yeah, it's just it seems like the gap that was the gap between good and evil now is getting so mixed and merged. I'm thinking it's like merged type of thing. You know what I mean? It's a case of people believe heaven and hell is physical, or it's a place, and I believe it's within. It's the influence that's in us. And for instance, if it's like the angel on one side and the devil, it's a case of now they're basically fighting or in the middle. Do you know what I mean? They've met in the middle. And it's like an even more ongoing struggle for either one to get influence.
No, hell to me, hell is not a place. Hell is inside of you. Hell is the way you live your life. It's not a place. God didn't create us for us to be punished for the things that we do. We don't know any better. And the only way that we actually, and I've touched on this before on one of my videos, the only way that we really learn about love is through our mistakes. Through the horrific things that happen to us, or the bad choices that we make. That's where we learn about love the most. You could only learn so much about love through acts of kindness. You do, it feels good, and you know that you help somebody else, but you really learn about love through disappointments. So
What's your take on that, Mike? Heaven and hell, and
I think they're just steps, advancement steps, different places you go to. To think there's just a shitty place where you go and face misery after misery after misery. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think like that you just be locked in eternal misery for infinity. I mean, I think a lot of that having it being set places were other systems of control in order to keep people in line. I think it's way farther out than that. I mean, for me, I think it's just going on to the next step, more or less. It's like you either, if you did something right and you followed your path and you weren't a complete piece of shit, you didn't, crap all over everybody else, and you grew through this experience with your consciousness and your enlightenment. You might go to your next step might be a little bit easier than this one. And if you went the opposite way, you might have to step back in order to move forward. Maybe you step back again, and then that's a harder level. Say we're playing like Call of Duty, so you run through on the easy one and you do it good, and now you go to the next level and it's a little bit easier. As to where you run through that one and you're horrible, you step back and now it's harder. It's harder to get out of it until you snap out of it and realize, hey, this is what we're supposed to do.
Mike, what you just said, I look at suicide that way. I look at people that, because we've always been told if you commit suicide, you go in hell. No. To me, it's just what you said. If you commit suicide, you wake up where you didn't die. You died in that reality, but you wake up in the next where you're still alive, but you're pushed back a little bit. What you once knew here, you don't really know the next time you know what I'm saying? I don't believe that somebody dies in this reality and you're dead and you go back to the creator. No, it's an ongoing thing. You died in a car accident, but you woke up and you were okay, but you really did die here. So it's just like people who commit suicide just push themselves back a little bit from I guess it's God's way of saying, well, you know what? If you're going to play like that, then I'm just going to take a little bit of your knowledge away and make you do it again until you finish. Because we're children. There's no way out. When you tell your kids to do something, you want them to do it. And if they don't do it, then you're going to constantly be on them to figure it out or to do it. You're going to reprimand. Oh, we're not reprimand them. That's a bad way of putting it because he doesn't reprimand us. But we have to learn. So in order for us to learn, we have to repeat it and step back, get left back like school. But I agree with that.
I just want to. Sorry, Mike. Go on.
Oh no, I was just wondering, like, if you guys had thought about like a life path, like as almost like Groundhog Day, like the movie Groundhog Day, where he keeps waking up the same day. Like I've always wondered, like, if that was how this worked. like with life itself, like a whole lifespan. Like if I lived my life all the way to the end and didn't do it right, do I start over again?
But there's no right. If people,
Right.
just like Miss Allie, she just said, basically, I can't get her thing right now, but I think what she was saying is that only the good people go to heaven. But you have to understand something. Like I said, for those who've had, OBEs and stuff like that, Miss Allie, we never left the Creator. We're still with the Creator. We're just having this experience. So yeah, basically everybody does go to Him because it's His creation. And the way I understand it is, everything is a thought in His mind, and everything that He thinks about comes into creation and does its own thing and creates its own thing. So we're constantly creating off of His thoughts. So, it's a hard pill for people to swallow. They don't understand that you have to have bad with good. You do. Do we have to have this much? No, I agree that something is going on. But in the end game, everything, and no matter who's doing it, is still going to go back home to the Creator. Not that we go back because, like I said, we're already there. We've never left. And it's so hard for me to explain it, but some people know what I'm talking about because they experienced the same thing that I'm saying, but we never left. We're basically, our conscious, our soul is tapped into this, but we are part of this body, and it is solid.
I just want to
like a deep
read some out, Claudia. Yeah, I don't know where I saw it today. I'm researching for my next video, and I saw this comment, and it basically saying, it says religion is a tool, a system of designated behaviors and practices. Now, because that was just in front of me, I was just thinking then when we was on about heaven and hell, they are practices. And then if you think about the purgatory, could a people who is classed as NPCs be classed as purgatory? They're neither good or bad, they're in between, because they're out, they're not influenced, they're not in this, I don't want to call it a game, I don't even know what I can call it, but there's like not even factions, evil, good, and purgatory. There's always seems to be three, it's three, the Trinity again, that appears, how they use it. And I was just thinking, they use religion obviously as a method of dividing us all, but is it a fact of our behavior, for instance, good behavior, bad behavior, and neither are, the heaven and hell and the purgatory within us, if that makes sense? Might not have made sense. Did it not make sense?
Go for it, Mike. Do you have anything to say on that?
No, my son started walking in. I'm kind of lost.
Oh, okay.
Because I just need to find answers, and I'm thinking there's people who people call non-playing characters, or they're just not in the game, whatever you want to call it, and they're don't seem to be affected like we are. Is it a case of they're in purgatory type of thing, and people obviously good and evil doing good and evil are heaven and hell? I'm just trying to find different things to think on why people do what they do.
All right. Well, we could look at it this way too, and maybe this is a stretch. I don't know, but we could look at it this way. This reality, like we said before, it doesn't work on frequency. That's not what's holding it together, right? I think that certain people are trying to figure out how to harness this whole thing with frequency and reality, so we can frequency and vibration. So we would be able to leave the body and go other places and do other things like aliens, extraterrestrials do. So maybe they come here, put on a meat suit, and some of them aren't so good, because you have to understand something. God creates everything. He didn't just create good. He creates everything. So there are entities that aren't great. We're not the only ones in the solar system, or whatever you guys believe that we're whatever. We're not the only ones, but we just don't know how to leave this place. Some of us do consciously. We know how to, leave the body and do all that stuff, but they're trying to figure out a way to do it. And they're trying to figure out through frequency and vibration. They're trying to learn. And these people are probably here, and they're sinister, and they don't want us to know, and whatever the case may be. It's a possibility. Just saying.
I mean, I'm not too. I'm just thinking it's a case of, do you believe, people believe in aliens, people believe in different things, obviously, and there's different types of humanoid species and different things that's all going around. Do you think it's a case of, and this is like an open question, that God created a set of us, an advanced civilization, then made, because you're talking then about the Sumerians type of thing, how they made people and then they made people, and maybe someone else made people, and these are these different species that are coexisting together in this realm.
Yes, that's what I said before. Exactly. Because if you look at the book of not the book of Enoch, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, you could even go to the book of Enoch. But if you look at the book of Thoth, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, or if you look at any of the, not, what the hell are they called? I can't think. Well, let's just go with the book of Thoth, right? Or you go with Enki, right? They talk about Enki, and Enki explains how the Anunnaki, they explain how they created the first humans, blah, 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 blah. Maybe there's some truth to that, but maybe those people are the bots, the soulless people, and they're the ones causing havoc. It's a possibility, because not everybody feels real to me. They feel like they're just on a repetitive kind of thing. They just, there's nothing there when you look into their eyes, man. There's nothing there. And I pick up on people's energy. And sometimes I could stand there someone, I feel nothing at all. Just like cold. They're just cold.
Terry, you talk to somebody and there's no life behind their eyes.
No.
Like it's been completely drained from them.
Yeah. So Paul, what you're saying is definitely a possibility. I definitely, yeah. If you want to, Paulie, if you want to get some questions, because I see some things in there that just, I can't.
Yeah, I was just looking at Miss Allen, and she was saying, if there was no consequences to evil behavior, then what's the point of being good? And that is a good point, and I've asked that question myself. Because, and it's fun, isn't it?
Karma.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, some people believe in karma, some don't, and it's very intriguing. Is because obviously these guys, I mean, we don't have a name for them. These, whatever. They're doing what we perceive as evil, and that's why I come back to it at the beginning. It's so bad because these people have these mindset. Do they actually believe what they're doing is right, the end game? So what they believe is to be right. It's, I mean, it's, you know, I mean, I'm not agreeing with them. I'm just trying to think around the question. It's just a tough question, and yeah, you would like to think these guys will get karma and pay back for what they do. Do you know what I mean? For instance, you know, why would we then want to always be classed as good if, you know, if we can do and get away with anything? You know what I mean? It's a very good question.
We're not going to learn from always being good. Like I said before, doing good deeds and being good makes you feel good, but you don't learn about love. We are here to create our soul's identity because we have none. And through these vessels, we're able to experience things of what we want, what we don't want, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And through what doesn't feel good is what you find what feels good. Like I said, you find love through these things, and we're all creating the story. We're all part of the creating of the story. We are, because you have people that do what we classify as horrible, horrible things, that live their life in remorse and get sick and die from it and go like, why did I ever did that? Because you're part of the story. Like I said, everything is predetermined to a point when it comes to evil, though. But for the most part, we are part of the story. There wouldn't be one. This is not Atlantis. Okay, if there was a such thing as Atlantis where everybody was like, hey, life is great. What are you going to learn from that? You get that when you're home. What are you going to learn from that?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. So, you know, you have to have that. So who else? Does anybody else have a question for anybody?
Thoughts on karma? Queen of Swords was asking.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, okay. Oh, I know who she is. I'll take that one first. You know, I thought about karma for a really, really long time, and I'm a firm believer of it because I'm the type of person, I do something wrong, dude, within 30 fucking seconds, I just got it back. Within 30 seconds. And then I look at somebody like my ex-husband who, okay, it's been what, 20 something years. The guy still hasn't gotten his fucking karma back, no matter what he does. And I never understood that. I was like, why me? Why after 30 seconds? And from what I understand, karma is our own thing. We are actually the ones that give ourselves the karma.
Do you think it's a case of you have to believe in it to experience it? It's like, no, I'm not talking about a frequency or anything like that. It's a case of an energy. You believe in it, that energy then could affect you. If you don't believe in it, it's not going to affect you.
In a sense, yes. Yes. In a sense, yes. But there is also a part of, I mean, if you really honestly don't believe it, then it's not going to have effect on you. That's anything in life. If you don't believe, it to be true, it's not going to have effect on you. But if there's just a little bit of your subconscious mind that kind of believes in it, then you're going to experience it. It might take 10 years, not 30 seconds, but you're going to experience it. And that's my answer on karma. I want to hear you guys.
Right, go on, Mike.
I don't know. I mean, I think karma eventually will get. I think it's got a different way of measuring things. I mean, for me, I notice it all the time. I pay attention for it. If I give somebody a dirty look, 10 minutes later, somebody's giving me one or being shitty to me. So I pay attention to it and I keep it that way. I think a lot of people don't pay attention to it and they don't notice how much it would actually affect them. And I think that goes back to the good and evil thing, is where a lot of these guys, and I know a couple of them, who are evil. I do contract work and I've been dumped on by a lot of customers and a lot of people that were in the beginning were doing the same thing as me, trying to grow, trying to expand the business. And then they grew faster and they did certain things to other people to get them to where they were, driving Lamborghinis and having, a lot of different material things, but ended up being empty on the inside with only a facade of people around them that were there for money. So it could affect them completely different. They're not paying attention to it, but in the end, they're just empty. They have all that, but they're empty because nobody around them is real.
It's true. Mike, what you just said is so true. I look at myself in the way I'm not a materialistic person. Not to bring up my ex, and he's a great guy. We're friends, my son's father, but dude, he drives a Rolls. He's got a Ferrari. He's got everything. I can't even tell you, okay? And he's in movies and he does the whole 9 yards and, the 18-year-old girlfriends, whatever. And I look at it and I'm like, you know what, Frank, one day karma's going to bite you on the ass for everything that you've done, every toe that you stepped on. And he's like, you know what, Gloria, bring it on. He says, because I lived a life of Riley, because I can go tomorrow and be fucking happy. I'm like, that's a great answer. Even that was a great answer. I'm like, I don't understand it. But because he doesn't believe in it. He doesn't believe in it. So he gets where he's got to go by doing whatever he's got to do. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so many good thought-provoking questions, deep ones coming out from the chat and different things, and it just makes you think that. And what I love is we're here now in a time, I don't know, I hate to use time, but in a time where people can feel free to express questions like that and not be laughed at or ridiculed from each other. And that's brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
Paul, let's address, because the reincarnation thing seems to be a thing in the chat. You want to go on reincarnation?
Now, this is another good question. Do you know what I mean? Is it a case of, and she made some good points about, if you're coming back, how can you rectify what you did wrong if you can't remember? And these are sort of things we were talking last week about. When you come back, some people do have access to that information because of the, we called it the barcode or the ones and the zeros, and they were basically in tune to pick up on what they did. Some people are not meant to rectify it. They may just get another go. My personal belief is I've had experience of reincarnation. I've memories. Could this just be access to memories? Could it not even be reincarnation? Or is it something else? Is there another name? Because reincarnation is just a label we have put on to basically describe us feeling another past tense life in this body now. So it is a really good question. It's a deep one. Would we ever know? Because obviously some people come back and they remember vividly that they've done this and that. Is it a case of these people are just having access to other memories like I've talked about, or did these actually physically be this person? I mean, do you mean, or is it a case of the energy, if you perceive it to be true, it may be happening? There's just so many possibilities. Like I said, I don't know.
If you look at it that way, okay, fine. First of all, you don't come back to rectify what you did, because what you did was not wrong. Regardless of what you think you did was wrong, you're not being punished. That's why you don't remember it. You won't be able to take back your memories until you are up and you know what this is about. And you will keep reincarnating, whether you want to believe me or not, I really don't care. You will keep coming back here until you look and try to find out who you are, what your connection is to the creator. And when you are awake, you will be able to take back your memories. Until then, you will come back and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And you know what's showing you that you keep coming back? When you have deja vu. When you have deja vu, that's not coming out of nowhere. That's stored. You did it before. It is showing you. Deja vu is showing you you are on the same path. Get the fuck off. Make a different decision because you're going down the same road again. Sorry. And I'm really adamant about that. I really, really am, because I have a lot of experience when it comes to that. Okay. Like I said, you guys could believe it or not believe it. You're not going to come here one time and be like, oh, I know everything. No, you're not. And then go to your next reality and be like Jesus. Oh, I know how it all works. No, you will keep coming back until you open your eyes. You start to ask the simple questions. Who am I? How did I get here? What is this all about? When you start to build on that and you know, it becomes I know, not I am that I am. I know that I know that I know. Then you will be able to take back your memories. And this is what I understood. This is what I understood. I cannot take my memories back, because if you live every time you're reincarnated and you get to take back your memories, you wouldn't know where the fuck to start. It all has to come together and has to be one story. And at the end of that story, you are awake. You know who you are. You know what you are. You know where you're from. And then you could take it with you, because now you have no attachment to the things that you had. So you're able to incarnate once again without the attachment of the people and the things that you had, because you understand what this is all about. And I hope that makes sense. Mike, you're next.
There's a good video I watched. I happened to stumble across it in a Facebook stream one day, or a feed one day, and it's called The Egg. And it's hard to explain, so I'm going to do my best, but I definitely suggest to go check it out, because it was very thought-provoking. But it resonated with me because it seemed like in the video the soul is with the source, and the source is telling them, check it out. You have to go back. You go back and you do different things. You go back and you're different people, because the knowledge that is out there you can't attain in one shot. You can't grasp all this in one shot. You can't, there's only, it's like storage on a computer. There's only so much you could take in one time, and you have to go through and and it made sense to me. Was you go through, and you could be going through at different times. You could be going through, you could be sent back me, and I, a different version of me could be Paul right now, but we'll never connect or realize that, because you were sent back differently. You're in a different vessel. You're in a different thing. And once you manage to get through all of it, then you could go on to the next step. I mean, we're all interconnected. Like, if to say we're all one, and so if we're all one and we're all here together, I can't talk to you through my mind.
We all come.
I mean, there's right. So there's certain parts of that. So in order to go back to one, you would have to go through all of it.
Right.
Like I said, it might not be making sense, but if you watch the video, it will definitely, the way it's played out and the way it's described makes a lot of sense.
Okay, Miss Allie, I just want to say, she says one life is enough to get it. No, it's not. If you went to bed tonight and I woke you up tomorrow, God woke you up tomorrow morning, and everything around you completely changed. Everything. Your kids weren't your kids. Your husband wasn't your husband. You're a man. Whatever the case may be. How would you comprehend that and say that one life is enough? You cannot have all the information in one life, because your brain could not handle it. Cannot. So it's not enough. This is nothing. We've done this many times. Some of us haven't. Some of us maybe are new to this. This is our first incarnation, whatever. I don't know. Okay. But for the most part, we've done this. Those that experience deja vu, we've done this before. One time is not enough. Although time does not exist.
I just think on it because, like I said, I've been brought up in sci-fi galore, you know what I mean? So all I use their analogies to get me through this mess.
You are a sci-fi movie, Paul.
I know. It's great. It's a case of, I believe we've all agreed we are one. I've done it before in one of my videos. We are the one, the source, the water, right? So, for instance, our soul is one. That's the pool, that's the ether, that's the catchy records, that's everything. That's where all the knowledge is. So once we're swimming in that, we know everything, and we come down to experience it again differently in this vessel. But every time that you, like I said, I'm just trying to think. So this is not exactly my thoughts. I'm just trying to, brainstorm it. Is it a case of when we then get sent down to be in this vessel, each time that brain or whatever comes back can handle more and more information. So then we remember our past lives. More times you do it, the greater the perception, the greater the memories that you can bring back with you on this trip. Basically like a suitcase. Every time you come back, you bring a bigger suitcase back with you. Basically, you're going through duty free, full of some key memories or not so key memories. And every voyage that you come, you basically got this to basically look through and experience again. And you can remember certain parts, certain paths, the forking of the path in your life. That's just the way I'm looking at it.
No, I agree with what you're saying. Listen, nobody's wrong and nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. It's whatever you believe is going to be your belief. It's going to be your experience, right or wrong. Right. I don't see Mike. I don't see you at all. I just see like just black. I don't see anything. So I don't know if you're sleeping or if you're still there.
No, I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. He's contemplating.
Honestly, the only thing I see is like black headphones and like
I can see him.
Anything else. But
no, I'm listening. I was reading the chat. And
is anybody have questions, or because we will wrap it up in about like 15 minutes or so. So
come on, guys, ask any questions. It can be on what we're talking about today. It can be on anything. You know what I mean? We're here to learn type of thing. What we can do until we get some questions on, we can ask like what's new. What's your next video going to be, Gloria?
Oh, I'm just going to do, I have things documented on how many times we shifted this month and the symptoms that most of us felt. They're pretty crazy. See, I'm thinking about waiting until the 26th to do it, or the 23rd. I'm not sure, because the last time I made a video, I had told people between the 1st of September and the 11th, there was going to be a major shift, and it was. I cannot tell you how many people reached out. I felt it. I know when it happened. I felt it, and I got really sick from it, actually. But yeah, so from what I understand, the 23rd and the 26th is something really big. Either the 23rd and the 26th, or between the 23rd and the 26th. So I don't know if I should wait on doing a video. But yeah, we have shifted quite a few times this month. Nothing negative, In the beginning, it was kind of freaky, but for the most part, it's just more waking up. Well, like what Mike said, you feel that in the pit of your stomach, or that feeling like, holy shit, what's going on? And you can't put your finger on it. Sometimes it just feels like there's people around you, or like a fight going on, and you can't see anything, but you could feel the energy of it, that kind of feeling. So my cat's name is Kika. I call it Kika. Pretty. Did you see? I went to go get her and I fell off my chair. So
not pretty.
Oh, stop.
What about you, Mike? I'm not ignorant in a sense, but do you ever plan to make videos? Because I think you do some good ones.
No. I don't. I like bouncing around and just being in the backdrop. Like, that's me. I like thinking about it, and talking to people about it. I don't necessarily. I get too nervous to make my own videos, to be honest with you.
We do. I get nervous. I don't get nervous when I'm on someone else's show for some reason. I can do what basically I'm free. I'm free, and I can have a laugh. But yeah, I do when I'm doing it myself. I still do to this day, and I've made loads of videos. I don't know why it is. Maybe because you're in the spotlight. I just don't know. I think you would do good if you ever did. I know that for a fact. What I'm doing at the minute, it's weird. I was on Brian's show 2, 3, 4, 5 months ago. I don't know when. It was not long ago. And this is what my next video is about. And Ghosty33, I don't know if she's in the chat or she's watching, or she mentioned it in a week. I said on chat, because it was about Tartarian, different things like that, I said there would be a new civilization, a new thing being found in 6 months. And we're only 3, 4 months in. And this week, a new continent's been found called Greater Adria. And now I knew this was coming. It's a case of, because they have to bring something new, and if it's them, but do you know what I mean? I just knew something was coming out. And my new video, I think I'll be doing it live, which will put pressure on me. Then it's a case of there's not too much information. It's just a lost continent that's been found hidden under Europe that was supposed to be part of the great continent called Gondwana, which included Antarctica, Africa, South America. It was supposedly some huge, supercontinent, and it broke up. And this is now where the Adriatic area, near Italy and different things, and that's basically it's hidden under Europe there. So that's what my new video is going to be about, because what I found, there's not much in etymology in the Latin convert is actually just like I wasn't expecting. Do you know what I mean? It's like so left field, and I'm excited by it. I really am. But it's like, whoa, because you don't believe, some people might not believe in what I'm going to touch on, you know what I mean? And it's talking about maybe Janice in a way, it's talking about interspecies, black and white, or it's just mind blowing that what I found. And I'm like, I can't do a video on it because it'd be, it'd be over straight away. I can't put video, I can't edit it. So I have to go live, I have to speak.
Yeah, I'll be in your chat. I'll be in your chat.
I've just got notes and notes. I mean, I'll give you a little sneak thing. It links in with Pleiadians.
I am the queen lizard.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And things like this, it's just so intriguing, and it's talking about in my research, black people and white people living, and there's something happening, and even one of the gods, Andrestia, is like a god of revolt and different things, and that is similar to the name, and Adria. It's so so I'm excited about that. I don't know if it'll make sense to people because it's just a bunch of me looking at different things. But
second, I called you Brian. Oh my God. Last time I called you Joe Rogan.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean? Thanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going, guys. Bye.
Steven, if you're still in the chat, can you put Joe Rogan's, Paul Rogan, can you put Black Sheep's website up? Wait, Paul, I want to, somebody ask a question, and I think it's a really cool question. How do we begin to know who we are?
Do you want me to answer that?
Does you want to answer? Anybody want to answer that?
Yeah, I'll answer it. I don't believe we are ever supposed to learn. It's a journey, it's experience. Sometimes you will find the inner peace, the inner you, and you can have a shift or whatever, and it just goes.
Not
a shift, a shift.
You said you could have a shit.
You've got shit on the brain. That's what you were saying to me in chat yesterday.
Oh my God.
She was telling me while she was having a good steaming shit on the toilet. It's disgusting.
Shut up, Paul. Shut up, Paul. That's disgusting.
Hey, just let go of the bad stuff. Move on to the good.
Are we back? Sometimes I think the best way to get to know yourself, it's easier to know. Okay, for instance, if you stand there and go, okay, what's my favorite color? What do I like? It's very difficult. You can ask yourself one simple question: what makes me happy? And your answer will be like, I don't know. Or else you'll come up with health. I want health and happiness and money. You see, it's really difficult to pinpoint what makes you happy. So for me, the way I figure out what makes me happy is by knowing what makes me not happy. If that makes any sense. I don't like the way that feels, therefore I won't do it. I don't like the way that looks, therefore I won't look that way. And that's how I know what makes me happy, by knowing what makes me miserable or not happy. Go for it. Go ahead, one of you. Paul, you already answered, so Mike, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Mike, Paul.
I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with him. I don't think you ever truly know exactly who you are, because every time you're pushed into any circumstance, I mean, the outcome's different.
Yeah,
I think it's a collective. You collectively look back. Huh?
I'm agreeing with you, definitely. I was trying to think of something, because I'm a smart ass sometimes. It's not that type of smart ass, but do you know what I mean? It's a case of people always talking about how we should move forward in life. It doesn't matter to me, as long as you're moving and you're not stagnating, you're not learning. So even taking a step back, sideways, whatever direction, as long as you're moving, you are learning. So it's like you've just said in regard to knowing ourselves. I don't think we ever will, because we don't stand stand still enough to contemplate that type of thing. We're always tend to be pushed, like you talked about, the people in, you know, pushing us down that path. You know, we're supposed to be doing this, that you'll forget your car keys and come back in. It's a case of that type of thing. I don't believe we get flashes of who we truly are, and that could be like an epiphany or that aha moment type of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I got some weird shit going on in this house right now. Holy cow. Okay.
Yeah. No, I do. I know exactly what you mean. And I think that's a lot of it. Because, I mean, you could be put into the same situation 3 or 4 different times. And I think the outcome will be different 3 or 4 for different times. And I think it's a collection of all those outcomes that you look back on through memories and things that you could, you know, self-reflect and see how you've gone and how you've changed and who you've, you know, started to become. And then, but it's not going to be one thing. It's always a transition. It's always a change, because who I am today might not be who I am tomorrow.
And who you are in my reality, you're a completely different person. In Paul's reality, you're a completely different person. You exist in everybody that you know is reality as a different person.
Right. And then you perceive yourself to be one thing, and everybody else, you'll never meet yourself.
Exactly. You know, one more question before we call it a day. Okay. My radio just went on by itself, and that would just freak me out. Okay. Because there would be no reason for that to happen. But anyway, my house is haunted. But anyway, one more question. Soul groups. Does anybody believe in soul groups?
I'll be honest, I've never heard of it in my life.
Not until now.
Soul groups meaning, Paul, like, you know, we have a connection somehow. Like, you know, we all came in and said, okay, we're going to meet up, or maybe we've done this together so many times.
That's like a sync, what people call a sync now, synchronicity.
No, not so much synchronicity. Like we've incarnated so many times that we've known each other. We've always done the same role over and over together. So it's like we're a soul group.
I
do believe in that, because you get the energy, you get familiar with an energy. Do you know what I mean? You get attracted to. We was talking about this, wasn't we? The energies of like X and Y, and how it's like a battery and a magnet. It reacts and it pulls and it pushes. So this, all these types of things, the energy, the forces, love, hate, Mandela and different things. Maybe it acts like a magnet. You're pulling that force to you one day. Another day you are pushing it away, type of thing, negative and a positive type of thing. And that's what I'm just thinking of. But I definitely believe in it because I've experienced it.
Yeah. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. I think if, you know, certain people are drawn to each other more than others because there is that energy, there is that collective energy that has been there, and it draws together.
Yeah.
I don't think it's extremely complicated. I think it's more or less on that basic level. It's just, you know, these two attract and these two don't. I mean, and you could see it a lot just walking around and looking at other people and paying attention to their energy. Like you're drawn to go and talk to this girl at the mall out of nowhere, or, you know, you just look at them and go, yeah, I probably don't want to buy anything from there.
Yeah, like you could, it's the same thing like me and Paul. I mean, and you, Michael, you've never met Paul, right? Face to face. We've never, you know, met face to face. So it's like there's a connection, and you just hit it off with these people. Like you could just be yourself, and yeah, it's so weird.
Can you imagine meeting me? Oh my God. That'd be so good.
We'd have a good time.
Like that.
Listen, we are definitely going to do this. I spoke to Paul about it yesterday. I might have mentioned it, Mike, once before on a show, whatever. I said within a year, I want to get everybody together. I want to rent a place somewhere in either South Carolina or Georgia, somewhere. And I want to do this where we could all of us get together, you know, and I'm going to do it. It's 2020 coming up, and that's when my deadline was, and that's when I'm going to do it. I really would like to do it. Fly Paul in, So you get to kick his ass in person. Oh, I'm going to so kick his ass in person.
What did you say? You're going to kiss me ass in person?
No, everything is kiss your ass, Paul. You said kiss my ass. My girlfriend texted me kiss her ass. I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know, no, but I do want, I am going to do it. And I'm the type of person, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You know, it might take me a little bit, but I'm going to do it. Because I think that we all need to meet each other, even though I feel like I've known you guys a million years. I swear to God, I know you guys a million years. I don't know if I'm lucky or if I'm like really upset about it, but I'm joking. But yeah,
she's not.
Huh?
She's not. Do you want to hear the stuff that she calls me? I get picked on by so many people. This sweet, innocent person here. It's ridiculous.
You're a troll.
Don't even play that innocent role, dude. You're well in the meddling of that. You're over there stirring the pot. I see it all day.
You know?
You're like that mischievous weasel that just runs around and bites on things to see what's going to happen.
And I'll tell you something. If it's not in the group chat, he's blowing me up on the other chat because he wants my attention. You sometimes drive me crazy if I don't answer him.
Oh my God. She's trying to redirect here. She's trying to redirect.
You are such a bitch. Hi, hippie.
Yeah, a bit late, but thank you for joining.
Queen of Swords 444. You're on my Facebook, and you're really cool.
That's what I said to people. Meet us on Facebook as well, and then you get to see the real me. You see how I get bullied and all that. It's like a
dude. You're the push-up master, dude. I mean, come on. You're nobody's bullying you.
The bounce up master.
Right, you just throw hands at him. I mean, come on. All that gym work for what?
Oh, it helps you. It helps you run away.
It helps you. Yeah. That's the truth, though. Isn't it, Paulie? That is the truth.
It's like, I don't know if did you ever remember the Benny Hill when he's running away, the music, and that's what it feels like. You're running away. You're running away from the crazies, and it's that music in the background.
Yeah, you can't run away from yourself, Bev. You're the biggest crazy of them all. But anyway, I think we had a really good show, and thanks, Mike, for coming on. Even though you look like you're in like the Witness Protection Bureau, because I really honestly can't see you. But I think we had a really good show, and I'd like to do a part 3 discussion on this if you guys are okay with that. You know, because I like to keep the videos about an hour and a half long.
Let me just check my schedule.
Yeah, okay, Paul.
The schedule's like blank, but you know what I mean, never mind.
We're going to get off air and Paul is going to be texting me. Okay, know what we're going to talk about. Yeah, okay, Paul. You're so on top of it. But anyway, God bless every one of you, and thank you for coming, and I love you all, and I mean it with all my heart. Okay? So you guys, you want to say goodbye, Paul? You want to mention your channel again? Go ahead.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know me, obviously you might know me by now. It's Paul, obviously, aka Black Sheep Research. That's just my channel. I do everything on there. I cover everything. I don't think I have one topic that I really look into. I just look into everything. Yeah, so check it out. I've done so many stuff. Like me and Gloria said last week, ignore some of the videos now, but frequencies are there. We were just joking. It's a case of, yeah, please check me out. And just, I love interaction. I love people's comments. I love hearing from you because it's how I progress. I learn by you interaction. That's how I learn, basically. And it's brilliant. You know what I mean? So please do it. And there's a good bunch here. Mike's brilliant. Gloria's okay. You know what I mean? So,
oh my God.
And for everyone, obviously, what was we talking today? Everyone thinks me and Gloria are married.
No joking aside.
Who would put up with her? Do you know what I mean?
Shut up,
So just laying it straight. You know what I mean? We're all friends.
Mike, he's starting again. He's starting again, Mike.
He is.
He doesn't want to let me speak.
Let it happen.
She doesn't want to let me speak.
I do.
Censorship.
No, I do. You go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
Let me finish now. So yeah, we like a family. So please, you know, interact, share stories. That's what we're here to do. You know what I mean? And you get that on my channel. The only time I can't reply, sometimes you do get on YouTube where you can see the comment, but you can never answer it for some reason. I don't know what that is. So please, yeah, and hopefully Mike will be on again on Gloria's channel with us. I really enjoyed it.
Great.
You guys were brilliant.
You guys got great minds. I love picking your brains. So.
Well, thank you for having me. It was great It's great to be in a place where you could just, think and think openly and not have to worry about somebody going, that, you're an idiot or any kind of backlash behind it. Like everybody in the chat's been great, and it was an awesome experience.
I have a very positive channel, and everybody that's here is always positive, and people feel it, right, Paulie?
Yeah, I mean that's what I try to do. You know what I mean? I try and go so far down the middle and basically show people it's okay to have a different opinion.
Yeah, of course.
It's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? That's all what I'm all about. Do you know what I mean? I just love hearing different people's topics, opinions on everything, because everything is connected. I find connections by Mike saying something before, and that gets my brain going. Do you know what I mean? And when Glory says it puts you on the path that we're talking about. It leads you in that direction, and I'm always wrong. You know what I mean? So it's a case of that's how I learn, and it's brilliant. And like I said, I love the guys who's in the chat. You know what I mean? Brilliant. They've respected each other. Some sad stories in there, and I'm sorry to them people. You know what I mean? Just enjoy this ride, as I always say. You know what I mean? We're here to have fun.
Yeah, and with that, I will see you guys back here in a few days, and I'll have your information on the shifts that we had, and yeah, and then I guess maybe if I can get you guys back, either one of you, whatever, next week to continue this, that would be good because there's a lot of things that we need to touch on, and that's it. And God bless you all, and have a great day, all of you.
We are live.
No,
We are live.